I'd like to welcome everyone. This is the July 27th, 2023 meeting. It will be recorded, and I'm calling the meeting to order at whatever time it is, 10:02 in the morning. Just a roll call. Arlington
Here.
and Lexington may not. Oh, Lexington may be here. Yeah, great. Okay.
I am here.
Lexington.
My camera's not working. Lexington is here.
Yeah, thank you. Lincoln.
So Richard and Jeannie Krieger won't be here today.
Yeah, I saw that. And neither will Beth Williams, and Concord is here. Okay, so here we go. We can start our meeting. And we have a quorum. There are 8 participants. Hi, Jean. Hi, Jean. Hi. Hi, Jane. Sorry, Jane. Still early. Okay. Josh is here from Mass DOT District 4. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for getting back to me. And it should say updates for the Route 2A project and or the 128 bridge project, which I think I told you, but it's not on the agenda that way. So do you want to go first?
Sure. Yes, actually, I have an update on the bridge project, but not so much the 2A paving project. Let me just pull this up. So for the 2A and 128 bridge replacement project, they have no presence out in the field yet. So I think the folks who had asked about the Utah surveying must have been related to something else.
Archaeology, I think archaeology for the 2A project.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the project
a lot going on.
And they are they should have a survey crew out there in a couple of weeks. The contractor wants to get the silt sacks and sediment control barriers installed and start clearing and grubbing by mid to end of August. And they have their pre-construction site meeting and walkthrough with DEP on site next week. But so far, no presence or work directly in the field.
So the pre-con is next week, late next week. Is that what you said? Pre-con? Yeah. And
You're talking about the bridge?
Is Lexington going to be there? Yes, the bridge.
Thank you.
Will Lexington attend that or not?
I am not sure. I will check with our conservation staff, but my understanding is bridge projects do not go through local wetland jurisdiction.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
Okay, that's the 128 bridge project. And
yes, for the repaving project, I don't have any particular updates. The project manager for that is out of the office, but I'm going to check in with him once he's back.
Who's your project manager? Actually, is that
for that project? It's Michael, I think Murphy.
Oh, okay, that's a name I remember. And I think what the towns and the national park know is that the 106 process is still in progress, and a meeting with consulting parties to further discuss mitigation, and I hope avoidance, although Federal Highways and DOT have declared that they're not going to do avoidance. So that meeting will be held August the 16th. If anyone's missing information on that, I think the towns should have informed their members.
Yeah, well, I didn't get informed because I'm not a member. Can you just tell me, can you send me something or email me?
I can. Yeah, I can do that. I can send it.
Who's the Lincoln rep? Is Bob? Oh, you are great. Okay, so
and Andrew Glass and
Jennifer Curtin.
Yes, Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer.
okay, gotcha.
So I think, okay, thank you. A lot happening out there, a lot happening in the national park too. If you haven't driven all the way through to Barrett's Mill Farm, there's work going on along the way. So byway signage, I think Richard's been looking into things, proceeding without funding, but what, maybe there's funding, and I see Sheila's got a Battle Road byway sign behind her.
Yeah, so I guess what I wanted to say is that obviously not getting the grant, we don't have the money to do signage, but I have been in touch with MassDOT, with the district office and with planning. And it appears that the current federal guidelines for signs say that our signs that we designed are more in tune with federal regulations than the Essex signs, which MassDOT originally said we should model our signs after that. So in discussing with MassDOT, I think our signs, we just have to change the tone of the blue a little bit, but other than that, I think they fit within federal guidelines. I've got to call into the sign person at Federal Highway on that.
The tone of the blue,
Yeah, so
and they care.
it's pretty close.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm not sure. I haven't seen the exact match for it to see whether it really makes a difference or not.
We haven't made many signs, so maybe that's not huge, and maybe nobody would notice.
Yeah. So when we first created the signs that Sheila has behind her, so there were so there are three. So the engineer in the town of Concord was a byway member, and he fabricated 3 signs for us. The one that Sheila showed. There were 2 others, one that the town of Concord planning office has one, and the town of Arlington has one. So the one Sheila showed has a white background. We have one with the blue-black background.
There were just variations on the theme.
Yeah, so we just sort of have to make some decisions about that. We had sort of estimated that it was going to cost somewhere between 80 and 100,000. So we don't have money for that unless we get a grant. But the next steps to do this is A, we need to have funding, and B, we need to involve the people in the 4 towns and park in terms of where signs should be placed, what signs can go away. When Essex Scenic Byway did theirs, someone from MassDOT, someone from DPW, someone from historical societies and so forth went on a trip to identify specific locations. So once we figure out how we would pay for them, we have a pathway.
Okay, and it's good that there haven't been radical changes in the guidelines.
Yeah.
Craig, and Sheila, where'd you go? Or Jennifer, where's Jennifer? She'd go. Do you guys have that package of signage? It's a little multi-page, maybe fewer than 5 pages in color, variations on the Battle Road Scenic Byway signs, with also some options for branding beer glasses and coffee cups and whatnot. Do you have access to that anywhere?
I haven't seen that. Is it available digitally or was it sent?
I think I have a package. If I don't, I know Richard does and I think he sent it to me originally because I'd lost track of it. But it's nice to see it and be able to share it with other people in our towns.
Yeah, that would be great. I'll check with Paula maybe it's in a different file, but yeah,
Okay.
I'll touch base on that.
Okay,
So in terms of that, we had a consultant work with us, and we spent quite a bit of time trying to come to some common agreement. And the final product was the package of information, which contained the signs, the logo, how it might be represented on banners and so forth, and or beer mugs for that matter. And so that was the final product.
so I think it might be a good time for us to think about maybe just the initial signage. And I know Lexington had a lot of information about cost and maybe broke it down by sign. Do we have a unit sign for those little prototypes that we can attach to other posts?
Yeah, so
Maybe we could have a couple.
yeah, so in the town of Concord did price out and
Oh.
identified what signposts to have to be black. There's a signpost at the intersection of where's that field where the old visitor center used to be?
Oh, yeah, way out to the east.
So there's a signpost there, and he said that's the signpost we should have. It's black.
It's black
and-
metal, right? Standard issue black metal.
Yeah,
So interestingly enough, Concord has replaced every single one of those metal, twisted, rusted, old, ugly signposts with brand new black ones.
yeah.
So we'll be in good shape.
So the estimate was, probably $90 back, that was 5 years ago for the signposts, and had 3 signs fabricated. And we've got the town of Concord DPW has all of that information, but I think I have copies of it as well.
Yeah, you might look for yours because I remember sending something to Elizabeth,
Mhm.
one of our planners, and she ended up sharing it with DPW. So I'm not sure the sign guide is the same. I'll check on that though and see what they remember about that.
Yeah, the person who was on our committee ended up leaving to take a job in Waltham. So
This
we don't-
seems to be happening.
yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Nancy,
Yeah,
can I give an update on what's happening in Lincoln regarding signs?
I have no information on what Lincoln's doing regarding signs. Do you guys? Where's Craig? Do you know?
I can give you information because
Can we wait? I've been trying to put public comment at the end. Can you jot that down if we
That's all
don't get it
right.
covered during the meeting? Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
thank you.
great. Thanks. Unless Craig has some information to share.
No, I don't.
Otherwise, I think you're going to be getting a copy of that little sign package from either Richard and or me. So, okay.
Yeah, Nancy, could I get a package? Could I get a copy of that as well? No.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. They may have it, but belt and suspenders,
Yeah, well, it's good to have redundancy on these things.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I'll put that down. Okay, so the byway signage 250th activities, Beth Williams from Concord isn't going to be here and the National Park isn't here. Do any of the other member entities have updates on the 250th activities? I know Concord is very, very busy. We have about 100 committees, subcommittees, and they're all working hard and trying to stay coordinated. I think Lexington is going great guns with all kinds of other things targeted toward the 250th. The Lincoln or Lexington Center looks terrific. But so much work still. So much. So anybody else have any particular updates? Arlington?
I'm just getting involved with the 250th committee, so I don't really have too much to report at this point.
Yeah, and I'm very much on the periphery of that because everybody else in town seems to have a role, and I find out when I go to the hardware store. So that's not exactly enough. So moving right along, and then on that to item number 3, this is the perennial issue. We keep putting it on, and I don't know how far other people are in reviewing. I know Greg and Mr. Glass may not have been familiar with the MOU before, and maybe they've had a chance to look at that. It is on Concord's Battle Road Scenic Byway page, along with the corridor management plan. I know Richard has sent out a bunch of excerpts from the corridor management plan. I've been in touch with MAPC to see if they had extra copies. I'm not sure who might have the real document.
Yeah.
But I thought they had 12. They thought they had 12. It turned out they only have 2. So they did mail one to me. I have the whole document with all the photographs and everything, which really helpful for somebody like me to understand better what the byway is all about, because there are these beautiful pictures all through.
So there are
So
2 copies of the full plan in each of the 4 libraries.
that's what I was assuming. Thank you. So in Concord, in Lincoln as well.
Yeah, all
It
4
should be
town
all
libraries
four.
should have 2 copies.
And I'll make sure the national park has them. I'm not sure I ever saw the whole completed document. It's probably in Lucid Airs's old file cabinet or something. I'll check with the park. Okay. So so have people had an opportunity to talk among their own membership about the MOU and where folks may or may not want to go with it? I know Bob was very clear about keeping the four-member supermajority, but there's so many other things. Some have been accomplished. Some still remain. Perhaps one of the most important things is the identification of stakeholders groups who can meet with us and help us gather different perspectives. So what's the status in Arlington? Do we know?
I have no information, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. This is going to get put on the back burner again, I think. I'll slip into member update. I tried to get from Chris Clem this morning information about the status of this new grant that we're supposed to hear about. I didn't reach him, but I did reach some Danielle Blackshear in Washington, and she sent me something that says, late summer, early fall is when they're expecting to see that. But this is, it was a long wait for the first one. Let's see, she said, it's up to $20 million. I think we know, still under development, not yet been released. Likely to go out sometime late summer, early fall, but there's no exact time frame. So that's the update there.
So is the $20 million from this year's federal budget? It would need to go out before October 1st.
It's 2024.
2023.
I'm sorry, I don't track federal budgets anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to figure out.
I don't know. Does anybody else? Planning people might keep closer track, or Josh, do you know?
All right, can you repeat the question?
No,
Do
the
you
question
know the
is,
$20 million for the grant, the upcoming federal byways grant? If
it's for federal year 2002-3, does it need to be advertised before October 1st?
Don't know.
Sorry, I don't know too much about that specific grant program.
Don't know. I bet it's not. My recollection is it was 2024. I can look, but we can look. I think it's been some of the announcements, so.
Okay.
Okay. So there's that. So Arlington says maybe they're not ready to discuss that in the near future. The MOU and governance in general. I know it's been on everybody's mind for a very long time. The national park put quite a point on it when Giles Parker was acting superintendent, and Simonis continued to bring those the issues related to the MOU to the fore. Does Lexington, what do you guys think? Do you know yet?
Well, so in the formation of the last of the of the only MOU, we got a grant from MAPC for them to sort of facilitate. And at the time, the selectman in Lincoln was pretty clear that he would not agree to anything unless all of his requests were incorporated. So if we were to reopen, I would think we would need to have an outside facilitator, whether it's MAPC or Freedom's Way or some other entity. Probably it should be something like that.
Yeah, do you remember how much that cost? And probably the initial facilitation might have cost more than we would expect any update to.
I'm not sure.
Okay, I've looked into it a little bit. I don't know what folks think about MAPC. I know there's mixed feelings about their engagement in certain projects in Concord. I don't know if that's the same everywhere, but they certainly know how to facilitate a discussion. And I think it would be a good thing for our committee to have somebody outside involved. Because there's many disparate points of view, and it takes a skillful facilitator to get through some tough issues. So, so Lexington doesn't have a formulated set of questions or concerns, right? Either at this point.
I think the only thing is that I think we should, that, you know, if we're going to reopen it, we should have an outside facilitator, whether it's MAPC, Freedom's Way, or somewhere, some other organization.
Some expert. Is there consensus on that? Do you think would Lincoln agree to that? Arlington, I think I saw George shaking his head, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, okay. And yeah, if Lincoln thinks that's a good idea, maybe let us know. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to discuss it. We've discussed it a little bit in Concord. And Marcia Rasmussen, actually, before she tragically retired, suggested MAPC and would have helped us get a person. And I think somebody on our planning staff has earmarked X number of dollars, a small amount every year for the Battle Road Scenic Byway. So I need to check again on the budget, see if it's in there anymore. But okay, so, and I have a list of things that maybe I'll just share it with all you people if I get it out of my note paper and onto a computer. So I just wonder if we're engaged in another grant application. So is it important to try to deal with the MOU before we do that? Or not? Or does it not matter? Or too soon to tell? Too soon to tell. Okay.
I don't think, if the grant's coming this fall, I'm not sure we'll get the MOU done.
Yeah,
So
both of those would be sort of distracting, not distracting, but big lifts.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. I think in the meantime, it would be excellent if people could get together with whoever they consult with about this committee in their town, other committees and town leadership maybe, and partners. So, and I think Richard at this point has at least, don't you have a complete roster of members and their terms now?
I think so.
Okay, if you
I
send
don't know
that,
about terms, but yeah.
but if there's any gaps, I can follow up and get the terms with people, and then it'd be good to put that on our page, the Battle Road Scenic Byway page in Concord, and maybe in the other towns if they, I know everybody's got a page, so. Okay, and then we can go on to member updates. And Arlington, George, do you have anything from Arlington? Are you guys quiet this summer?
No, we're not quiet. We have a beer garden at the Jason Russell House every Saturday, weather permitting. We'll see if the weather permits it this Saturday, but it's a good time. We changed vendors. Monotony Grill is providing both the beer and the wine and the food.
Yeah.
And it's been well attended so far. And
Have
I
you
have
been
National
rained-
Guard duty this weekend, so we'll see how it goes.
Have you been rained out a lot?
We were rained out the first two Saturdays in June.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I went last year once, maybe twice. It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun and a lot of people. And-
Yeah. And it's a lot of families with kids. There's cornhole games and other things, and it's not, it's not a beer swilling teenage crowd. It's
Yeah.
families. It's a lot of
And
fun.
dogs, plenty of dogs.
Plenty of dogs. Yeah.
Okay, Lexington, Sheila or Richard, or
No. Shirley, you want
haven't
to talk
heard from Sheila.
all the construction in town in the center?
Yeah, right. So the center is going along. They've done some repaving work. They had some sort of touch-ups that they needed to do from the center project. I believe those are now complete. The Battle Green project is going strong and confusing traffic, but it's going well. You all heard about our snake in town, so that's the big excitement, the boa constrictor.
Oh,
Yes, that was found on the bike path,
no kidding.
but they don't have it. Someone spotted it. So
Mhm.
that's the excitement of the morning. I plan to open my hood before I leave for the day. But
That's
yeah.
pretty, oh, that's pretty funny.
yeah, Sandia has been working on kind of East Lexington, kind of sprucing that up. We're working on a new sign bylaw. And the focus is to kind of help East Lexington. And then also she's been working on getting the businesses to fix up their backside, the side that fronts the bikeway. So hopefully in a year or two, we'll see some improvements there.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
Make a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, anything
The
else?
other construction project obviously is the new police station on the other end of town. And once that's done, hopefully our community farmers market will be able to return to that spot. It's at the high school for the last couple of years, and it'd be good to be out and visible again.
Wow,
So we can compete with Arlington.
that is a big project to do. Lexington, Lincoln? Nothing goes on in Lincoln now, but
Yeah, Craig, I don't know if you have anything. I mean, on the planning side of things, there's not much that would be, I mean, there's stuff going on, but not much that would be concern of the byway. But Craig, I don't know if you can think of anything.
Yeah, no, I think most of the stuff is elsewhere in town, community center planning and
Yeah.
housing choice. I am interested in, we've been following Lexington on the housing choice side, Housing Choice Act. So definitely glad that you were out in front of us on submitting to DHCD.
is that totally independent of the MBTA? stuff?
Communities Act, the MBTA
Oh,
communities?
yeah. Or
It's the same,
are they
no.
totally related? Same.
Same, yep.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So we are anxiously waiting our AG and then DHCD approval to make sure we did it right. And I know other towns are watching too, so
Very, very closely.
yeah, yeah.
So is Lexington an MBTA community because of the buses?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
Okay.
Arlington is only one of the original 14, so they're in a little bit different category. We're sort of in the other category. But the other part that I think is interesting is that with the zoning that we did for the housing, it appears that we probably will make out financially that whatever gets built will probably end up resulting in more taxes than if we didn't do the rezoning. So it's, it's going to supposedly create new housing, but it's probably not going to hurt our bottom line either.
Interesting. Okay, and then I'll do Concord. From what I know, mostly from the planning point of view, because the MBT communities, public meetings, coffees at Dunkin' Donuts or at Cafe Nero, all around. We had a big Zoom meeting last night. There's been intense public involvement this time for this kind of a big change, and that's going to be great. We also have a 40B that came very quickly following the rejection of the town of a senior living affordable development that would have provided something like 80 units. And this 40B is going to provide considerably less, but will be in the Baker Avenue area. There's a pond back there, and so 2 large 5-story buildings will be facing the pond with a path that connects with the Assabet River crossing. That's going to be built before too long. So that's top of mind for a lot of people. And let's see. I've been in contact with Arlington, a little bit with Ollie, with Al, trying to find Al Avery, who worked on the website and managed it, I think, to some greater or lesser degree, and the Selbert Perkins people who actually designed and developed the website, trying to find out in anticipation of the committee's need to update that site in anticipation of changes due to the 250th. So Selbert Perkins said that Al Avery has now accepted a full-time job somewhere else, but they still communicate with him. So they offered to contact him and put us in touch. So I think 3 entities. I think originally Allie, Heather Gill from Concord, and I think Richard was supposed to have access to that site, but for some reason, maybe Richard's access didn't come through in the end because of work on the corridor management plan or the All-American Road nomination, something. But so we're trying to bring that back up to a more transparent level and a more accessible level so we can see where we are and what we're doing.
George, you had access to the mock-up, the one that Al did before the real one. Did you ever get access to the real one?
No.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
Selbert Perkins has all those still.
Yeah,
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
that's okay.
Okay. Anyway, so that's the corridor management plan is really a beautiful document, and I'd be very interested in understanding what it would take to print more of those, although I'm not sure what the demand would be. So anyway, good. Have you all seen the original?
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, good. I never did. Richard sent me something without the pictures and then he sent me 4 or 5 batches of the photos separately and I'll never open them.
No.
So, okay,
I mean, the other thing is, if we want to get something reprinted, the question is, do we want the full book reprinted or the executive summary?
oh, that's another option. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's very appealing to some of us. Okay, and what should have been on here and it dropped off is just other business. Does anybody have any other business to discuss today? Okay. If not, Jane is the only member of the public out there today. So do you remember what you were asking before and whether or
Oh,
not?
yes, I've made notes.
I
have
would have
no
guessed, I
memory
would have
of
guessed
that.
that. I would
All
have
right,
guessed.
let me start with the MOU, just so I have an understanding of your discussions. Is that actually printed in full in the corridor plan? Or are you talking about something that's separate?
It's everywhere. It's not the corridor plan, probably.
Well,
Go ahead.
obviously, the MOU came after the original plan was approved, but when we put in for the All America Road, we did take a vote to revise so that we did incorporate the MOU and a couple of other documents into the corridor management plan.
All right,
So
go ahead.
so it is now part of the corridor management plan.
Because I have the old original one.
Right, right.
So it's not in there, right?
It's not in there because there was no MOU
Right.
until
That's what
after.
you just explained. So is there a way I can get a copy of that?
Yeah, I can send you that too.
I'd appreciate that.
Okay. I think it's on Concord's Battle Road Scenic Byway page, by the way.
All right, let me look at that because there's a little.
Yeah, and the corridor management plan is there too, but Richard, interesting. Where's the amended corridor management plan or the document that amends it? You would be the only person who would have it.
I think it might have gotten sent in with the application for the All America Road.
Well, maybe it's with that application.
Yeah, so I'm not sure that there's ever a formal document that incorporated that into it.
Okay, but if it's in the All-American Road nomination form, which looks
I'll take a look,
exactly
yeah.
like the Battle Road Scenic Byway nomination form.
But
It
this
could be
committee,
inserted.
this committee did vote to include it.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
All right.
Is
Then
that okay?
Yeah, then I need both of those.
Yeah.
And do
Wait a
they,
minute, both of which, the amendment and I don't know that I even have the amendment. So I'm gonna look for it.
is it on the Concord website?
Not separately, it would be under the All-American Road.
Well, let me look for that and the MOU.
Well, you know how to find me.
Yes, and if I can't handle it, frustration, I will call you. You gave me instructions and it worked once, but that was a
Oh,
year ago.
I know. I think all of our websites are a little bit different and it's funny at first you have to poke around a little bit before.
Yeah.
you-
Let me see what I can do. And if the worst comes to worst, because I don't like to bother you unless I have to. All right.
Anybody
Um,
else?
Well, I have
Or
another
anything
question.
else? Okay,
Yeah, anything else? Signage, back to that. Now, this is Craig and Jennifer might be interested. I'm follow as an interested citizen the BPAC and the Transportation Coalition, a member of RTC. And as a member of RTC, our chairman would like to cut back on signage. And so like the SALT signs in Lincoln. The other thing that BPAC has, they want to put up in addition to the bikeway, bikers can ride in the roads, in certain roads, in the travel lane. They want to put up that pedestrians and bicyclists have to be 4 feet away. And they're trying to decide how many signs are we going to put up and can we take down some? So if you're going to be adding signs through Lincoln on the park, I know that they were gonna be putting up some signs probably at the entries of the town.
All
So,
through.
you know, I'm just want to alert you that there's sensitivity about signage and too much signage. And so when you talk about separate poles for signs, and the national park has signs, and the DPW wants to put up signs, and, you know, there's signs all over the place, just on Route 2.
Cultural district, wild and scenic rivers, all kinds.
Yeah, you know, it's so I just want you to know that those discussions are happening, and I will bring it to them if I just came from the Transportation Coalition meeting at 8 this morning. And I would have mentioned it to them about your signage but it's going to come up at BPAC meetings and at RTC meetings, and I will, which are coming up in the next
So,
2 days.
so
next
the
week, so I'll bring
general,
it up to them.
the general thoughts on our signs are, for every sign we put up, we would recommend another sign taken down.
Yes, and that's sort of floating around Lincoln and at these various meetings.
Yeah, Concord also is very sign shy because there's a lot of feeling that there's too many already.
Yeah.
So it might cost us much less than we think.
What'd you say?
Byway signs might cost us much less than we think, or
Yeah. Well, just, you know, all of them are important, but too much people glaze over and just don't see. So, you know, at entryways, it's nice, but you know, for the byway, but you don't want to have signs that say to the byway.
Okay,
Those are my 2 points.
so if there's no other comment, we could end the meeting. The problem is, unless somebody's hiding behind Ann Clifford's screen. I don't know how to end this meeting. That doesn't, I'm sort of the co-host, I think, but I could probably figure it out. But
I'm just going to leave you.
I think if everybody leaves, that's.
Yeah, that's the end. Yeah. So, okay. So I can at least adjourn the meeting and let you all go. This must
You
be
have
some
another
kind
date?
of, this must be some kind of a record. It's 10:44.
Do you have a date for the next meeting?
Not yet, but it'll be probably the 4th Thursday of the
Okay,
month.
okay, thank you.
I'm very inclined, if we don't have a grant application, to go back to not the 3 meeting minimum in the MOU, but at least quarterly. But if we don't have big agendas, maybe that makes more sense. But for now, pencil in the 4th Thursday of January, February, July, August already. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye-bye.